What's up, beautiful people? Happy Friday, y'all. So, real quick word of encouragement, right? So, if you're like me, and I think we all, there are moments where, um, it's like, you need to get closer to God. Maybe because, maybe you might not know God. Um, Maybe you know God, but you may have kind of fallen off. Um, or maybe not, but God is just calling you to, I don't know, a deeper place with Him, whatever. But I feel like we've all, whether we've known it or not, He draws us to us. That's one of the things. He loves us so much that He draws us to us, right? Now whether we answer is up to us, right? So if you're like me, I have been feeling God just like pulling me, right? Like, you need to get back to this is where you need to be, right? You need to get back, right? And so the beautiful thing, right? It's not always in a condemning way, right? Um, it's not always like you need to get better. You need to do better. Um, Today he did it in the most amazing, beautiful way for me, I must say, right? And the Bible verse popped in my head, Revelations 3:20. And it's Jesus, and it says, "Look, I stand at the door and knock. If you hear my voice, open the door. I will come in and we will share a meal together as friends." And I'm like, how decent is that, right? He not just like, yo, you not let me in. I've been out here knocking. He says, for one, I want to be with you. We all, are like, I need this, you might feel like you need a friend. You might feel like whatever, right? Or we've had times, right, where we felt voided. A void of people, a void of love, a void of support, a void of whatever, right? And he like, listen, I'm here knocking, you know. If you hear my voice, if you answer me calling to you, not only will I come in, he said, I will come in and we will share a meal together. And not just share a meal together as friends. So if you're like me, right, and you just have been, because sometimes it's funny, right? Sometimes you can feel the nudge, and it might seem weird, right? But feeling the nudge can either be like, yeah, you're right, I need to get back. Or it could cause a shame that actually kind of makes you hesitant because it can feel like I'm in trouble. Oh, he's disappointed. You could start beating yourself up, whatever the case may be. But how cool is it, right? Know today that he is not convicting you. He is not condemning you. He's just like, listen, I want to be with you. I want to remind you who I am, who I want to be to you, right? And I know for me, he is showing me that, of course, he always wants to, right? But for me, right now, and probably for others, right? It's like, I want to remind you of who I am to you, who I want to be to you. Because I want to get you back to the place that I remind you of who you are. And even this morning, the Bible verse, Matthew 5:14, I read in my Jesus Calling book, which I have been, and it wasn't even, like, I had been just feeling like the desire, like, on my own to, like, I ain't gonna say my own, but I'm like, I want to read my Jesus Calling book. And couldn't find it for a couple days. Found it last night. I'm like, God, you're so decent. Didn't even read today's date, which I think, what is it, the 23rd or something. I ended up turning, like, when I opened the book, it automatically turned to June 6th. And I'm like, all right, well, because in bold, it says, seek my face. I'm like, okay. I read it, and he reminded in that reading, it was about, how he said, your mind was filled with darkness, right? But then I poured, but then when you begin to seek me wholeheartedly, right? So then when you came to me, he said, I poured my light in you so that you can be a beacon to others. And he said, in this position, there is no room for pride. And he talked about, you have been created to bring me glory and to even live in his glory. So how decent is that? How amazing is that? I'm like, I ain't trying to miss that. I'm not trying to miss that. And I'm like, I even had to thank God for loving me enough to not want me to miss him, to not want me to miss the life that he has for me, to not miss anything he already, predestined for me to experience, right? Because the thing about it is, we not here forever. And it's not even to think about death. But I just don't want to miss anything. He doesn't want us to miss anything he has called us to be, see, experience. Right, just bless somebody. And even shout out to, I thank God for the people I have in my life, right? Because I got a message from my girl, Ra. I think this was like last week. And it was just like a reminder, don't forget, to keep seeking the Lord. Remember your steps are ordered. Queen Zena, I get a message from her like pretty much every morning, with just a word, right? Today's word was wisdom. Throughout the week, one day the word was peace. Another day the word was protected. So like, even God not just pouring in, he's not just pouring into us, but he will bless you with people, right, who will pour into you. That's the amazing thing about this life with God, right? There's so many benefits, so many beautiful benefits. Man, I love y'all. God loves you more. Answer. If you know God out there knocking, answer. You're not in trouble. You're not in trouble. And even thank God for love and correction, right? Because even when it's like, yo, what's going on with you? It's all out of love. Just like a parent with a child, right? So yeah, you're not in trouble. Open a door. He want to come in. He want to share a meal with you as a friend.